Welcome, G Money Sports faithful, to NFL Week 9. It's been a very fun season so far. This is officially, now that we have 18 weeks, the halfway point. I know I haven't been great about putting out these NFL videos. I've been trying to coordinate things with Ronan. Our schedules are just not matching up right now. So, due to the solo show this week, hopefully we can get Ronan in next week. This slate this week is... just looking at it, it's not the most exciting, but I do think there's really good value across the board here, so I will get right into it. Starting off, my first pick, I got Houston plus 5.5 at Miami. Tyrod Taylor is back this week. I think he makes a big difference in that offense. We saw them week 1, blow out the Jags. Before he got hurt against Cleveland, they were actually covering, and then he gets hurt. Things change, and they end up getting blown out. He's always been a serviceable NFL quarterback. I think Miami's a mess right now. I don't know if they're going to win outright, but I definitely think they cover with Tyrod Taylor back. So plus 5.5 there. I have Dallas minus 9.5 versus Denver. I've been sold, or not sold. I've been the opposite of sold. I've been selling on Denver all year. I don't believe in them one bit. Teddy Bridgewater's never been the guy anywhere he's been, obviously, otherwise teams wouldn't have moved off him. The offense is not good. Dallas's defense has picked it up a lot. Dak got the extra week to get healthy, and they still beat Minnesota, who, say what you want about how they perform. They have a good roster. They should definitely be winning those games at home. Dallas is, as much as we hate to say it, Cowboys fans are the worst. Cowboys are one of the best teams in football right now, and I think they're going to roll through Denver at home. Moving on to Baltimore minus 6 at home versus Minnesota. Love Baltimore in this spot. Like we just talked about Minnesota, just disappointing season. I think this is probably the end of Mike Zimmer's tenure. Ends near for him. At Baltimore coming off a bye, getting some guys back. I think Lamar is going to have a crazy game against the Minnesota defense that's missing a lot of guys. So I have Lamar over 16.5 yards rushing as well. Love the Baltimore minus 6. I think it's going to be an easy pick. Got New England versus Carolina under 41. I really want to play that 3.5, but I think it really might be a field goal game. I think this game's going to be, 17-14, 17-10, I think last week Carolina won 19-12 against Atlanta. I could see something like that again. Definitely the under here. Panthers defense is really good. Added Stephon Gilmore last week, who made a huge difference. Revenge game for Stephon against his former team. Obviously, New England's defense is always good, and Carolina's offense without McCaffrey has been really bad. So I love that under at 41. Got Buffalo minus 14.5 at Jacksonville. Buffalo's going to smoke Jacksonville. I don't see any way. I watched that Jags Seahawks game last week, and it looks like the Jags have completely given up on Urban Meyer. He has no credibility in the locker room. Buffalo's a well-coached team on both sides. I just don't see any way they don't roll through them. Cincinnati minus 2.5 versus Cleveland. I really like this pick. Cleveland's been banged up for weeks now. They just had to cut OBJ. Been a lot of weird things going on. Cincinnati obviously coming off the Jets loss, disappointing Jets loss. This is good. They got to prove themselves. Everyone anointed them as the surprise team in the AFC this year that's going to come and show everyone up. But when they go and lose the Jets, which you can't do if you're the AFC number 1 seed. So this is a prove-it game. I trust Joe Burrow to bounce back, and I think they're going to win and cover against Cleveland at home, 2.5 points. I have Atlanta on the road, plus 6 in New Orleans. I don't love this one. Betting on Atlanta sports, especially Atlanta Falcons football, it's not usually a good strategy. But New Orleans is starting Trevor Siemian this week. I know the Dome's a tough place to play. They can probably run the ball over Atlanta. But I think Matt Ryan's played New Orleans enough to where he can get the offense doing something. I really like Cordero Patterson, how they've used him. Kyle Pitts has looked pretty good. It's going to be a tough game. I think they keep it close, though. Within that 6. It's a really scary spread for me. But for some reason, it stuck out. It's been sticking out to me all week, and so I got to go with my gut on this one. Laying a +6. I have the Giants +3.5 versus the Raiders. Man, the Raiders coming off John Gruden. Now this unfortunate incident that happened with Henry Ruggs. You got to feel for the team. Got to feel for Derek Carr. This year when everyone thought they were turning it around. And, I mean, their record's still good, and they still have a good team. It's just, I don't know. On the road at New York, obviously New York Giants aren't very good. They played a really good game against the Chiefs, though. I think they're getting healthier. I think they cover 3.5 here. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders still win, but maybe 1 or 2. But I do think Giants cover. Moving on to the Packers-Chiefs game, I don't recall line ever moving so much from one player as it did in the Packers-Chiefs game, and for good reason. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is worth the 7 points that Vegas says he's worth. This game obviously started as a pick'em. I think Green Bay even started favored, and then it dropped to a pick'em. So 7 or 8 point swing when Aaron Rodgers announces he's out. It's tough. But I don't think this Chiefs defense is anything to be scared about. I think Jordan Love's, although playing in Kansas City is never great, I think this is the year to do it against that run defense. It's just so bad. One of my good friends that I live with is a Chiefs fan, so we've watched all the games, and they have not stopped anyone yet. And there's no reason to think that they'll do it this week. I mean, Jordan Love's been under Rodgers now for over a year and a half. You got to think he learned something. It's a first-round pick, unanimous first-round pick across the league. Everyone knew he was going to go in the first round. So he's got the talent. I think the formula stays the same for them that it did against the Cardinals, just for a different reason. Against the Cardinals, their receivers roll out, so they had to go rely on the run game. I think they do the same thing with a rookie quarterback, and I don't see the Chiefs stopping them in any way. I do expect the Chiefs to load the box a lot and try to stop the run, but I just don't think they don't have the personnel to do it. I mean, who on the defense is going to stop A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones? I don't think any of them can. So for that reason, I'm going to take Green Bay +7. I think they keep it close. And I also like A.J. Dillon over 40.5 yards rushing. I think both him and Aaron Jones have a big game. They're definitely seeing I think Dillon sees at least 10 carries, 10, 15 probably. Probably 15 apiece with him and Aaron Jones. They like to ride the hot hand who's ripping off carries. And I think A.J. Dillon, with his strength, is going to match up really well against the Chiefs defense. So I think matchup-wise, he's a better play here. I think the over 40.5 yards rushing will be pretty easy for him. Sunday night game this week is a really good one. Rams -7 versus Tennessee. I'm going with the Rams here. Man, it would have been really interesting to see what this game would look like with Derrick Henry. It's just a really unfortunate loss. I don't think there's any player that's not a quarterback on offense that affects their team more than Derrick Henry. The entire offense is predicated around him running the ball. The team comes and goes when he can run the ball. They're bringing in AP. They got Jerry McNichols. They also signed Deontay Foreman. I don't think any of those guys can match what Derrick Henry does, unfortunately, for the Titans. So I think they might struggle, especially at LA on Sunday Night Football. -7. I like it here. I think they win by at least a touchdown and probably more, unfortunately. Tennessee was a really fun team to watch in the early season, and it's just really unfortunate. In the NFL, there's so many injuries, and it happens every year. But unfortunately, the Titans got the injury bug for Derrick Henry, who stayed miraculously healthy for so long. You knew, running back, it's bound to happen at some point, and unfortunately it happened last week. Moving on to the Monday Night Football game. Man, this game's going to suck. I've watched every Monday Night Football game this year, and there's been some stinkers for sure, but I don't know if anything will stink more than Bears and Steelers. It's just a disgusting game. It's going to be a defensive slugfest. It's going to be a lot of punts, a lot of drop passes, a lot of incomplete passes, a lot of 2-yard runs. It's just under is the only play to make here. Under, and I think Bears +6 is tempting, but also I don't know if Justin Fields will do a single thing against the Steelers defense. So I don't know if I trust that. I think under 39.5 is just the easy play here. Take the under. If you want to watch the game, watch it. If you don't, turn it off. Watch something else and watch your bet hit. Then going on to my lock of the week. Lock of the week. I like the Chargers to bounce back here at Philadelphia, -1.5. This line doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, it does and it doesn't. I understand the thinking behind it. You know, Philadelphia just kicked the shit out of Detroit, 44-6. But I mean, Detroit's, I don't know. I mean, they're the Lions. You can't read into it too much. And the Chargers have come back down to earth after winning a bunch of games early. Obviously, my Patriots went and took care of business in Los Angeles, which I did not see coming, and I was very pleasantly surprised. All the way back in on Mac Jones, by the way. He never really wavered. It was just frustrating watching after Tom Brady had such a dynamic offense, just watching the same couple plays all the time. But the last couple of weeks, McDaniels has opened it up. Now that Mac Jones has become more comfortable, and I think the sky's the limit for this team. Their roster is really good. The coaching is really good. We have a really good quarterback in our future, so I'm really excited for the Patriots. Opposites and the Chargers, I don't think they're as bad as they looked against the Patriots. Justin Herbert has struggled the last 2 weeks, but I think he bounces back against a bad Philadelphia defense. For whatever reason, Bill Belichick has just had the Chargers number. I mean, last year, beat them 45-0. Obviously, this year we went to LA and surprised them. And even like a couple of years back, I remember in the playoffs, I think it was the year the Patriots played the Rams. They met against the Chargers in the divisional round back when the Chargers were really good, and just beat the brakes off of them when everyone was picking the Chargers to win. So for whatever reason, Belichick's always had Chargers, so I don't want to read into that too much. And I love -1.5 here. Philadelphia, although they looked really good last week, they're not a good team this year. Don't let last week fool you. Don't succumb to recency bias here. Take the Chargers -1.5, and you don't have to think about it. I mean, Justin Herbert versus Jalen Hurts. What do you like? Whose skill positions do you like better? You like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, or you like Devontae Smith and whoever else the Eagles have at wide receiver? Got Austin Eckler running back. Like, the Chargers just loaded. Their offensive line's awesome. Their defense has players. They're not playing up to their potential, but I think they can get back to it. So I love the Chargers -1.5 here. One of my favorite locks of this entire year. So very excited for that. That is all I have for NFL Week 9. Hopefully get Ronan back in here next week. But these solo shows are fun, which lets me, get off my spiel about NFL. I mean, I watch NFL every week, so I hope I retained a little bit of information and learned something. And if I could pass it along to you guys, that's my only goal here. So I really appreciate everyone who watches these videos. They're a lot of fun for me to do. People say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. It never feels like work for me to put out these videos or do this research. It's all just fun, getting to be able to do this stuff. And I really appreciate the support I've gotten from everyone. So thanks again for tuning in. I'll be back next week. Have a good weekend. College football, UFC, which I went over, NFL, NBA is on. Just a lot of sports going on right now. Just after the COVID pandemic and having sports taken away, it's just trying to take for granted these weekends of sports. It's something we all missed. Just having stuff to watch, to do, to care about, to get interested in. So I don't know. It's just it's great that mid-season where it's like we've watched football for 9 weeks now and everyone gets kind of a little fatigued. My advice is to keep pushing on because come March, come April, you're going to be wishing for NFL Sunday. So never take a Sunday for granted. Sorry, I've been rambling on here, kind of on a spiel, but these are things that are important to me and I do like talking about. So I will end the video here. Thanks again for watching. Be back next week. Have a good weekend, guys.